So one area where Microsoft have been way behind their competitors is the software store. And the Microsoft Store has always essentially been crippled because with its inception in Windows 8, it was geared towards the Metro apps, which were basically designed for mobile devices and then brought over very clumsily to full desktop environments, such as a laptop or a desktop computer. And as a result, the selection of applications on the Microsoft Store were very limited with respect to the plethora of third-party applications that are available for the Microsoft Windows operating system. So another area where they lagged behind was with so-called silent installation. So basically, you had to download the software package, and then you had to open up the Windows terminal or Windows PowerShell, and then change the directory to where you downloaded the software package, and then type in the command to install the software package alongside any additional flags to install the software. Recently, Microsoft have acquired GitHub, which is an online software repository used for storing code and storing code of different versions. It's also used for deploying code onto customer machines. So alongside GitHub, Microsoft have been developing a Windows command line package manager called Wingate. So the first thing you're going to need to do is just make sure that your app installer is up to date. And then you can right click the start button and select Windows Terminal Admin. And now we can use the Windows command line package manager, Wingate, to manipulate software. So if we just type in Wingate, we see that we've got a number of command line arguments. So if we have a look at the list, we see we've got list, we've got search, we've got upgrade, we've got install, and we've got uninstall. So let's type in Wingate and list. And since this is the first time we're using Wingate, we're going to be asked to accept the source agreement terms. So let's just type in capital Y. And now all the software listed on the computer is displaying. So let me just maximize this so we can have a look at what each column's headings are. So we've got name, which is just a string telling us what the application is. Each application has its own ID. So if we have a look at the form of the ID, we see that it's vendor.name of the application and there's no spaces. We've got the version, which is the version installed. And for applications that have a source of Wingate, there's also the version available. And this only shows when there's a newer version available on Wingate. So for example, we see Microsoft.Windows Terminal, and we see we've got version 1.6 and then the subversion, and we see that there's version 1.11 and then the subversion available on Wingate. So now let's have a look at using the next command, which is upgrade. So this is going to require the app ID to be added to the end of this. So I'm going to type in Wingate upgrade, and then it's going to be the vendor dot the application name. So this is Microsoft.Windows Terminal. And then because we're using the Windows Terminal, we're going to need to close it down and restart it again in order to finish the upgrade. So let me right click the start button and select Windows Terminal Admin again. And I'm going to type in Wingate list again. So now I see that the Windows terminal is up to date. And I actually don't see any available column, and that means everything installed has the latest version available from Wingate. Okay, so let's now use Wingate Search. So this is going to require a search term which can be part of the application name or the vendor name. So I've got a clean install of Windows 11 and I want to install Dell Command Update. So if I search for the search term Dell and note that the search term can't have any spaces, I find a number of Dell applications from the Microsoft Store and also from Wingate, and Dell Command Update is available from Wingate. So if I type in Wingate install and then use the app ID Dell.command update, I can install Dell Command Update in the background. And if I go to the start menu now, we'll see that Dell Command Update is now installed. Okay, so now I'm going to go through some of the other applications I want to install on my computer. So let's have a look for Visual Studio. And we see we've got a lot of versions here, and I want the 2022 community version. So here we see the app ID is microsoft.visualstudio.2022.community. So if I type in winget install microsoft.visualstudio.2022.community, I'll go ahead and install Visual Studio. And this is a larger download, so it'll take a while to go ahead with the install. Okay, so Visual Studio 2022 Community is now installed. So when I first go ahead and launch it, it's going to ask me to sign in with a Microsoft account. So this is essentially for the purposes of product activation, although the Community Edition is free to use for non-commercial use. So once I've signed in, I can begin to start a new project. And notice that I don't have much options available. So for example, if I select C++, I've got no options available because I've not got the desktop development environment installed for C++. And unfortunately, there was no flag available with Wingate to set Visual Studio Community 2022 up for C++ development environment. So it would be nice if Microsoft added some additional flags for some of these installers so we could install Visual Studio Community 2022 with C++, for example, using Wingate. So I've just installed more applications and now it's configured for C++ and I can start C++ console application. So it's got a very basic C++ example application and I can go ahead and launch this. And here we go, we see we've got the console saying hello world and Visual Studio is now installed. So let's have a look for Anaconda. So Anaconda is the Python distribution. And I see that the search gives me Anaconda and also gives me Miniconda. So let's go ahead and install Anaconda. So the app ID is anaconda.anaconda3. And it's going to go ahead, download this and install it in the background. So Anaconda comes with the Spider IDE and I can go ahead and launch this from the start menu. So it launches as expected. And from the start menu, I can also launch the Anaconda Navigator, which will give me a series of tiles which I can use to launch the other IDEs available with the Anaconda Python distribution. So for example, I could launch the browser-based IDE Jupyter Lab. Okay, so the Anaconda Individual Edition can be installed for all users, or it can be installed for a single user. When it's installed for a single user, it's going to be found in the user profile folder, and it's going to have a Anaconda free folder. So this would be C users Philip Anaconda free. If it's installed for all users, then it's going to be found in the program data folder. And in my case, it's found in the program data folder, and there was no options to install it just for a single user. And during installation, there was no options to add the base environment to the Windows environmental variables path, like there is in the standard installation. So the next thing I'm going to search for is Google, and I want to go ahead and install Google Chrome. So here we see that the app ID is google.chrome, and therefore I can install it using winget install google.chrome. I notice that this is done directly using the Windows terminal, and I'm not having to open up Microsoft Edge to search for Google Chrome to download Google Chrome. Okay, so let's see what else is available. Let's search for Notepad, and we see that Notepad++ is listed. So I can go ahead and install Notepad++, which has the app ID notepad++.notepad++. So let's search for 7-zip, which is used for file extraction and file compression. So we see the app ID is 7zip.7zip. So once again, I can go ahead and install this. Let's also have a look for VLC, and we can see that VLC player is available on Wingate, and the app ID is videolan.vlc. And let's also have a search for LibreOffice, and we see the app ID is the document foundation.libreoffice. So let's go ahead and install this using winget install the document foundation.libreoffice. And now if I just have a quick look at my start menu, I can see that all these applications are now installed. 7-zip, Anaconda, LibreOffice, Notepad++, VLC Player, Visual Studio 2022, and Dell Command Update. So I'm going to right click the start button and open up Device Manager now, and I'm going to attach Arduino to the Windows 11 PC. And in the past, when you were using the Arduino app from the Microsoft Store, it wouldn't install the Arduino drivers. So you would essentially need to install the app and then download the software package and install this in order to get the drivers to work. So the Arduino Ide is available on Wingate. Well, a beta version of it is available. So let's go ahead and try to install this. So the app ID is Arduino sa.ide.beta. Okay, so this has went ahead and downloaded the latest beta installer of the Arduino IDE and installed it. So I should be able to find this from the start menu and go ahead and launch it. And it's telling me no boards selected, but it's found the Arduino Uno at 0 port 3. And it's went ahead and installed all the drivers for it. So let me just check that this board is selected and 0 port 3 is selected. Okay, so I can load essentially this blank example sketch up to the Arduino without any difficulty. So let me now type in winget list now that I've got more software installed. And if I type in winget upgrade without any app ID added, then I see only the software that has a newer version on winget that can be upgraded. So I can upgrade all this software by typing in winget upgrade and then -- all. And now when I type in winget upgrade, it doesn't find any software that can be upgraded because everything's at the latest version that's available on winget. So let's now have a search for Office. So this is going to return Microsoft Office software results as well as third-party Office suites. So we see LibreOffice is there, we see Kingsoft WPS Office is there, and we see FreeOffice is there as well. Let me do a search for Office 365 in particular. Because I see apps available for Enterprise, but I don't see the home version of Office 365 yet. So winget will more than likely be pushed more for enterprise and business use to begin with, and so some home suites may not display on it until it's more established. So if I search for 365, I see that there's the Microsoft Office deployment tool. However, this just seems to be the same as the pre-installed Office application on a Windows 11 PC and doesn't seem to be Office 365 Home. Okay, so we've had a look at upgrading and installing applications. Let's have a look at uninstalling now. So if I type in winget and list, let me just have a look at all the applications that are installed. And I'm going to scroll down and let's take LibreOffice as an example. So let's type in winget uninstall, and then the app ID is the document foundation.libreoffice. So this goes ahead and uninstalls LibreOffice. Okay, so it's still very early days with the Windows command line package manager winget. And you'll notice that most of the software applications I installed were either free to use or they were open source. So they didn't have any complicated product activation mechanisms. And this is likely because this hasn't been fully implemented with winget yet. And I suspect there to be further developments for this using both winget and the Microsoft Store. So one of the system requirements for Windows 11, which isn't really used at the moment, is the Trusted Platform Module version of 2.0. So you can think of a TPM as essentially a unique serial code embedded in your system's BIOS. And Microsoft used this for BitLocker to identify a device. So in future, there's probably going to be more uses for the TPM once they bring commercial software to the likes of winget. So you're perhaps going to install the software using winget, and then in order for it to launch, it's going to check, has this software been previously activated on this TPM? If it has, then it will just go ahead and run because it'll be licensed. And if it's not, it'll probably start, say, a 30-day trial, and it'll know if this trial has run out on the TPM. So I suspect Microsoft will give some API to link to the TPM and perhaps also to link to a Microsoft account. So one of the other main system requirements for Windows 11 has been the processor requirement, and it's been quite high, being stated to be an 8th generation Intel processor or later. And one of the reasons behind this is likely the development of Intel Bridge. So Essentially, when mobile devices started coming out, they started to use ARM processors because they were a lot more power efficient. And this meant that all the software had to be written on the ARM architecture. What Intel Bridge essentially is it's a compatibility layer for the ARM architecture, so it can run on Intel processors. So in the past, Intel lost out on the mobile market because its processors weren't as power efficient as ARM processors. This meant that all the software written for the mobile market was designed for the ARM architecture. And in the case of software, Microsoft wrote operating system for mobile devices called Windows Mobile, and it also wrote Windows RT, which was designed to work with the ARM architecture. Now, unfortunately, they opted for a closed source application development model known as the Metro apps, or later the Universal Windows Platform applications. Now, developers tended to prefer the open source environment, which was used by the Android operating system, which was supported by Google. So the current state of play is that most mobile applications are designed for Android, which is in turn designed to work with ARM processors. So this is a problem for both Intel and Microsoft. So if Intel have the compatibility framework and in the future their processors become less power hungry, then they'll be able to move into the mobile market, but they require software to run on their devices. Microsoft, on the other hand, require their software to be able to run all the applications that have been designed for the Android ecosystem. So in the latest version of the Windows 11 Insider Preview, Microsoft have partnered with Amazon to bring over the Amazon Android application store and essentially incorporate it into the Microsoft Store so it can be run on Windows 11 natively. So at the moment, this is only available to customers in the United States. So I've not been able to test it out on my system, but I suspect this to basically be the main feature that Microsoft are going to be developing over the next year, and it will come to Windows 11, the mainstream builds, and essentially the anniversary feature update.